and, you know, figure out what, like I said, like what real people do and all that. And my good friend Lisa Jones just got hired over at Channel 2, and she's doing a morning show now. I happened to catch Channel 2 one day, and she had done a story about some butterfly garden, some garden back behind the Tulsa Garden Center. I don't know, some little, I don't know what, anyway, it was super interesting, and I hadn't known about that. But I think probably Lisa is bringing fresh ideas in there because she's been out of the news for a while. So she's bringing fresh ideas in there. And I watched that, and I watched another story that she did, and I was like, wow, I really like that. Like those are great. But again, she isn't stuck in that turn and burn mindset. You know, she come in from the outside and everything. So I mean, I don't know if it's, you know, let your folks work from a coffee shop. They just have to turn in their stuff, or let them work from home a day or two a week. But, you know, everybody's still got a job to do. But somehow to expose them to, you know, and I was just as guilty. Whenever I was in TV, I was like, oh, I can't answer my calls. I thought PR people just sat around like waiting on my calls all day long. But, you know, and, you know, I attend meetings. I attend corporate board meetings. And I have to absorb, you know, all of that. And I had a really frustrating experience recently with, you know, somebody calling me up kind of late at night about an issue. And I mean, I didn't know about it yet. So, I mean, I need time. Like, do you really have to run with it? It was about, like, an educational scholarship. Like, why are you running with it tonight? Because I still need to get a hold of those people tomorrow, and they may need to run down some things, and they've got jobs too. They're awarding scholarships, and they need to run through their paperwork. So, I mean, I'm not necessarily the first priority. I may not know, like, exactly the whole picture for 2 or 3 days, as crazy as that sounds. And if they lived a little more in the outside world, they would know that too, I guess is my point.
You know, I would add to that, you know, in the last year and a half, I have heard reporters and editors tell me no on a pitch idea for a new reason that I had never heard prior to that, which is, I love it, I want to do it, but I don't have a reporter to work on it. Or, I so want to do this, but my editor has me working on something else. Or editors, I'd love to, but we're kind of, these are our criteria, this is kind of what we're paying. Man, that sounds awesome, I wish I could. And it's like, after the first 2 or 3 of those, I was like, okay, I've heard no before, that's fine, you know. After a while, I'm like, what's going on? It almost seems like even the reporters it's unusual to me that even if they have an editor to answer to, I get that, I'm not used to them. Usually it's like, no, I can tell you before even talking to editor, it's not, you know, we did that story last week, or we, you know, some other deal. But a lot of, oh man, I'd love to do that. And it's like, it's almost like the reporters on the front line are sensing that that's a good story, and they want to do it, but maybe there's an old-fashioned model, maybe there's, I don't know what it is. And so that's something to think about. It's just weird to me that I'm hearing a lot of that lately. The other thing would be like, you know, we were talking a little bit before about, you talked about if it bleeds, it leads, and I know that there's metrics that show that that's great, but I would argue that Facebook is the opposite of that, where, you know, if I see one more, you know, kid's birthday, unless it's mine, you know, or kid just turned 16, unless it's mine, just got a learner's permit, you know, a couple weeks ago. So we post that stuff, and we all click on it, and, you know, had a great time at the beach, and I'm like, you know, it's raining here in Tulsa, and I'm like, you know, but then I'm like, click, oh, that's beautiful, what an amazing experience. And so you know, and the babies that are born, and the, you know, all that kind of stuff that is so much on social media, I would say there's clearly, if you could count it somehow, only Mark Zuckerberg knows, but, and I'm using just Facebook, but there's clearly a lot of, back to my eyeballs and ears, there's clearly a lot of eyeballs looking at that stuff. So, you know, I'd say it'd be interesting to conduct a little experiment for 6 months where, you know, you have like 2 versions of your website, where, you know, you have like the, what do you call it, like a control group and a test group or something, you know, and, you know, I don't know what % of your viewers, they log on your website and they see what you're used to pushing because you know it works and you know the numbers are there. But then other people log on and it's, I don't know what it is, but it's the babies and it's the learner's permits and it's the, you know, Caribbean vacations and everything else. And just see what happens, you know, just see, you know, I mean, it's sort of like our current mayor. I love the fact that he was like, I'm not going to do the negative campaign ads and I'm not going to do the traditional stuff, and you know, there are times where I was like, oh man, I don't know if that's going to work for him, but I hope it does, and then it does, and so I don't know, it'd be interesting to just think about a world where we don't have to focus so much on car crashes and house fires and other stuff.